Fellow nerds, look, you can go and you can watch a bunch of other people talk about Invincible and talk about all these other awesome nerdy properties, but they're all going to be the same. Not us. We're not like all the other channels. In fact, we're not your status quo.
Let's jump into this trailer because this was a surprise.
Yeah.
This I had no idea this was going to drop, so it was a wonderful surprise because we are all big fans of the show.
For some of you, it probably seemed like this day would never come. Maybe you're even wondering if you're
Start
ready
right
for
away.
this.
We're here at the graduation ceremony from the Reginald Bell Johnson High School with a principal that looks just like Reginald Bell Johnson.
And I love here we see that there is an empty seat, which I am assuming is our buddy Invincible. He must be off somewhere because we see Adam Eve sitting
That's got to
there.
be Mark.
Yeah, no, 100%. So they're already showing that he's out doing something or another.
For what comes next.
Oh, yeah. Now, if you all remember, so we're getting ready to come up to a part where they're talking about Mark / Invincible. If you all remember from the previous season, he had this gigantic fight with his father, aka Omni Man. Sorry, spoilers if you have not seen the first season yet. But yeah, Invincible's father is Omni Man. He is a Viltrumite. There was a meme about... Think, Mark, think! Voiced by the amazing J.K. Simmons. Did an incredible job. And as you'll see towards the end of this trailer, we've got a gigantic voice cast again. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But so Invincible is doing his best, obviously. He is doing his best to try and save Earth. This is what he said he wanted to do. He didn't want to conquer Earth the way that his father did.
Yep. I can't tell who that is on the ground behind him, but...
They look like magma monsters. I'm guessing they are the people at the very end of season 1. We saw clips of like all the people that Invincible interacted with. And one of the bad guys that he fought with Adam Eve was Dr. Seismic. And they thought he was dead because he threw himself into lava. And it turned out he was actually creating like this empire in the in the core of the earth or whatever. And he had these these soldiers made out of magma. And that's what these look like, if I had to guess.
I will take your word for it since you have watched it more recently than I. But I do like that he's got a bloody nose. This show does not shy away from seeing people getting the bad end of a beating.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love and going back to the first season. I love when he tells people his name. How many people are like, Invincible? That seems a little I don't know. You seem very vincible to us.
You have no idea what I'm capable of.
And I love that you have no idea what I'm capable of. So he's starting to come into his own a little bit with power.
Yes.
I didn't know who he was.
And as we find out, from the species that his father is, Viltrumite, they basically killed each other on their planet until only the strongest of them survived. And even his father explains to him, during the think Mark think part, that the strong Viltrumite DNA in him is so pure that even though Mark is technically half human, half Viltrumite, he could be considered almost full Viltrumite. And once he comes completely into his powers, he's nearly unstoppable.
He would be invincible.
He would be invincible.
We see this scene here, obviously some more villains. I love the fact that it's just not going to be, him versus his dad or him versus the Viltrumite invasion. We're going to see a lot of these villains because I think, Robert Kirkland, who wrote this along with The Walking Dead, really does a great job of fleshing out characters and kind of making it very interesting. So they're still going down the road, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, they're building up this whole comic book world. I love it because
I don't fight friends because I would win.
The DC DC universe of the
Never
Marvel
apologize for
There's
saving
Dr.
lives.
Silent, by the way.
There's only one way this kid goes back out there, and that's on a very short leash.
Yeah, we see a bunch of all
And
the
there's
people
the,
and we hear their voices.
That was the Immortal that was fighting him. The Immortal, for those of you that saw season 1, he has a bit of a bone to pick with Mark. He was okay, again, spoilers. The Immortal was killed by Omni-Man twice. So he basically, in his mind, he is probably thinking, look, we can't trust Mark now that we know that he is the son of a Viltrumite. He could end up turning out to be just like his father, and so that's most likely why he's fighting him. And we end up hearing later on, unless we already heard it. I can't hear your volume, so I don't know for a fact. But we end up hearing at one point that we'll let him go, but he's going to be on a short leash.
Yeah, and you got to think it's most like a lot like Justice League Doom, where they found out Batman had all the ways to stop everybody else. And he's like, hey, if you guys ever break bad, we need something. And so I bet they're thinking the same way with Mark. He may be on the right side now,
but he could flip at any point. And I mean,
his heritage could come through.
That was something that speaking of DC, that was something that they were talking about, like what happens with Superman. He's the most powerful being on this planet. There's only so much kryptonite. What would actually stop him?
Yep.
I'm just happy helping people.
Little Adam.
You know people try to kill us every single day, right?
I don't care how old he is. He needs to go down now.
Maybe if you train more and complain less, we can get back to saving lives.
About Adam Eve, definitely, if you have Prime Video, check it out. They dropped an episode basically about her origin story, and just to kind of give you a bit of a preview what she is capable of. She is essentially, she has the same powers that Dr. Manhattan does. She can literally reform reality around her. She just doesn't use it to the full extent that he does. But she's basically pink Dr. Manhattan.
Except without a giant pig.
Right.
but we see on the screen some of the voice cast from this
Mark
season.
Hamill, I love that.
Zachary Quinto, Clancy Brown. I mean, so many.
So many.
And then they even got the second season. Enjoy it.
Make him pay for what he did to your world.
Welcome, son of he who slayed my husband.
I am a normal human superhero.
I wish he was dead too, but not for your sake.
Kill fast, ask.
I mean, look at this list: Chloe Bennett, Rob Delaney, Jay Farrow, Kari Warsh, Cliff Curtis, Callista Flockhart, Leah Thompson, Tim Robinson, who, if you don't watch, I think you should.
Phil Lamar, look at that. No kidding.
Yep, Phil Lamar. Zazie Beetz is in it. Josh Keaton is in it. Paul F. Tompkins, Ben Schwartz. We heard him talking there a minute ago. I'm like, God, I was watching this the first time, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Man, this is going to be so worth the wait.
And I totally forgot. I was so as I mentioned, I went back and I rewatched season 1. I forgot that Justin Roiland was in season 1.
Who was he?
He played just a one-off character in, I think, like episode 6 or something, named Doug Cheatham. And he was a frat bro, trying to get some ladies to go home with him. And then he got turned into a cyborg.
Well, if he's back, maybe they'll have a voice alike like they're doing for the next season of Rick and Morty.
Questions later.
Viltrumite against Viltrumite. That has not happened since the...
Yeah, this is a huge list. And then this looks like the leader of the Viltrum Empire, I think.
Yep, and he's saying Viltrumite versus Viltrumite has not happened since the Great Purge. Thank you, that's my impression. If we want to put that in channel points, we can do that. But it'll be nice because obviously it's hinting that either Omni-Man and Mark are going to be fighting once again, which probably happened, or we're going to see the forward scouts of the Viltrumite army, which would be pretty...
Well, and that's very possible because they hinted that at the end of season 1. There's a character voiced by Seth Rogen, and he's essentially, he comes to he's from the coalition of planets, and he comes to make sure that there's some sort of champion on a planet to ensure that they don't get invaded and that they can protect themselves. And nobody knows this because nobody's ever talked to the dude to realize who he is. So for like years and years, Omni-Man has been just flying up and punching him and tossing him into space, and that's been the end of it. Mark is the first one to actually talk to him and find out who this dude is and why he keeps coming to Earth. And then they end up becoming good friends. And if you've read the comics, that friendship ends up, going on throughout the rest of the comics, like years and years later into the future. But yeah, he even hints and he says, it's crazy. I cannot believe your father left. No Viltrumite has ever left their post. It's unheard of. And the Coalition of Planets doesn't know what to do about this. We're not sure how to take this because Viltrum does not give up a planet that they set their sights on. When they want something, they will either take it or they will burn it to the ground. And Mark says, what do you mean? He says, I don't have a homeworld anymore. We fought back, and they destroyed my entire planet.
Yeah, but we saw, that was at the end when were they sitting on Venus, or was it the moon talking?
They're on the moon.
Okay, yep.
Great purge.
Yeah,
And
I
of
love
course,
it. Whenever they
J.K.
chat.
Simmons.
Yes. So good. So
I
iconic.
don't think there's anything this guy could do that I would not enjoy completely. He could be
Right?
reading like grocery lists. And I'd be like, oh my God, it's so good.
That's how I am with him. Probably Mark Hamill and God, there's a couple of other voice actors where it's like I could literally just listen. Ron Perlman's another one. I could literally listen to him read off a grocery list to me.
Clancy Brown too. He does so many
Clancy
voices.
Brown is
see his
amazing.
name pop up everywhere. It's incredible how much voice.
He's one of my
he
favorite
gets.
voiced Lex Luthers.
Yeah,
From the Superman animated series. So good.
he was great.
You should have died at birth.
You should have died at birth.
Now,
Yeah,
who do you
come
think
on,
he's
Omni-Man.
talking to?
He's not talking to Mark.
I don't think he is either, because, and again, spoiler alert, one of the deviations between the show and the comic, in the comic, Omni-Man is, he just kind of takes off, and I believe he, if I remember right, he ends up flying off to alert Viltrum that, hey, we're going to have a problem with this planet, and we are going to have to send an army. But in the show, he's actually showing emotion, and I don't remember him doing that in the early, issues of the comic. It took him actually quite a while to change his tune. So I don't think in that preview there, I don't think he was talking about Mark,
I agree.
because as he flew away at the end of season 1, he had literal tears coming out of his eyes because he was remembering raising Mark as a child. And so that's why he ended up stopping, thankfully beating his own son to death, and then took off. So I think this is going to be a slight change from the story in the comic. My assumption, my theory, if you will, is that he decided to take off and maybe have a little, I don't know, maybe he's just figuring himself out, like, hey, maybe I don't need to be a Viltrum soldier. Maybe I'm something else. And so, yeah, I don't think he's talking to Mark in that scene.
We can definitely agree on that. I'm very excited for the second season. I mean,
So am I.
if I find time, I definitely, if I would have known this trailer was coming, I would have tried to, rewatch the first season too. But man, first season, anyone who's watched it just absolutely loves it. So I'm hoping the quality stays the same. It seems like they've taken enough time to do it right for season 2. And the voice actors they hired seems like they're definitely going about this the right way. So.
And did you hear the rumor about season 3?
No, what?
Oh, they've already started working on it.
Good.
They don't want as long of a gap because, I mean, it's been a pretty long gap between season 1 and now finally we're going to be eventually getting season 2 in November. But yeah, they've already, they started working on season 3 at the same time as season 2. So it's going to be a much shorter time period from when we get it.
Oh, that's
Assuming
excellent.
that it gets renewed, we'll end up getting, season 4 shortly after as well, which I hope it does. It's such a good show. It needs to be renewed. More people need to see it. And you know what? If you want a refresher, if you saw it a while ago, but you want a refresher, definitely check out our video. We do a pretty solid breakdown and review, and I literally mean that. We break it down, we talk about the good, the bad, and then we give it a rating, a good old not your status quo Doug scale rating.
Where 5 is average.
That's right. So yeah, head over to our YouTube channel, check out the video. It is, it's somewhere on there. If you go to the search, just look for Invincible review.
Yeah, that was one of our favorites from thinking. I'm glad they're working on season 3, so we don't get this long wait again.
Yeah.
Because the Invincible comics, there's been so many of them that they have a lot to choose from, so they could really keep going on for 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons. We don't need them to overdo it. We don't want them to go Walking Dead on us, but it could be something where they have enough and they can keep this going for a long time because provided
the comics they actually extend
actors strike.
onto generations. So if they really wanted to, they could even cut off. They could do it like Avatar: The Last Airbender style. They could cut it off after a certain generation and then show us what's going on with the next group. The comics kind of do that. Towards the end of its run, they skipped it was like every 10 years or so they'd show you, kind of give you an update. Hey, this is what they're doing now. This is what they're doing now. And then they kind of just felt, okay, this is a good ending point. But yeah, if they really did want to, if this was successful, as an ongoing series, they could be like, this is Invincible, series 1 or whatever, comprised of these 5 or 6 seasons, and then they could end up going on with Invincible, the Legend of Invincible Junior or something.
Just call me IJ, Invincible Junior.
I'm clearly the one that they're gonna go to for the naming of this new show, because I'm knocking it out of the park.
Yes, you are, sir. But what do you guys all think of the trailer? I mean, we didn't get a lot of footage. It was a lot more of the showing off who was acting, but we got enough that we know we're in for a treat come November 3rd.
And hey, let us know in the comments. Do you want us to break down on Wednesday or maybe next Sunday? Do you want us to check out the Adam Eve episode and kind of break it down on our stream? If so, let us know in the comments. And if that's what you guys want to see, we'll gladly check it out and let you know what we think.
And don't forget to hit us up at Twitter, leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.